Okay, so welcome back, everybody. And we were just talking about the Ethereum red. But before I do that, I want to make some distinctions about color in general. You know, we think of being human beings. Part of the big thing that makes these products work and synergistically work within the body, mind, and spirit is the fact that the frequency and the vibration that's created on not only the elemental aspects, but also in our foods, and we'll get into those in just a little bit later. But really, as a human being, our name is spelled wrong. It should be HUE-MAN, meaning that as a human being, the core frequency and vibration of who we are as human beings really ranges in that color spectrum of the rainbow. So when you think about that, on one side of the spectrum energetically, we have alpha waves and cosmic rays, and then we have X-rays and AM, FM, satellites, Sirius. So we have this whole broad spectrum of frequency and vibration that is all a part of our world, and color is a very major part of that. So when we think of color, we're talking about color as you take a white light and focus it through a prism, and when you put it on the wall, it gives you that rainbow spectrum of color. So what's really neat is a little story here is that from a ancient theory of color, we come out of the blue. And how many of you have heard that experience, out of the blue? It just came to me, out of the blue. And that's our desire. So we come out of the blue because of our desire to want to be here and be participating, attracted to the yellow sun that gives us warmth and allows us to live as a species on this planet, and grounded in the red earth. So that's really the principles of what's going on here, and what is so brilliantly demonstrated as that meteorite struck the earth, and then the outer laying rings was from the intense white light heat that gets created, and as the farther it moves out, then we move into these different color rings within the Etherium, so the pink, the red, the pink, the black, the gold, and so on. So now we were just finishing up with the red, and what I want people to have an understanding is the red is more specific in how it operates for you on all levels of your body, being, and mind, is that we're really moving into, you know, thoughts are things, and what are we attracting, and living from our heart's desire, and whenever we don't, how that affects the heart. And now what that leads us naturally into is now this is where the beauty and the brilliance of the pink comes in. And Zane, maybe you can share some ideas on the pink.
Well, it's like you're saying, it's pink is red with more light.
Right.
And so the pink has a higher, in my mind, and not better, but
No, it literally does have a higher frequency.
Yeah, it has a higher frequency, and we do think of pink, we think of pink as the heart. Now, in the traditional chakra chart, it's green, but what people have, you know, postulated over the, like you say, centuries or thousands of years is that when the heart chakra is at its highest level, it's actually a pink color, it's not a green color.
Yeah, interestingly, I look at red, pink, and magenta, which are all the red spectrum. Red is our raw sexuality, the raw love of who we are. Pink, with more light infused, more source energy infused, takes us to a place of unconditional love. And the magenta has the ability to hold all colors, unlike perfect white light, as well as black is the refraction versus the reflection. So magenta is that divine love. So that's kind of how I've been able to ascertain the degrees of love and unconditional love and divine love.
Yep. And so with the Etherium pink, it's really it's all matters of the heart, and in a sense, yes, physical and energetically, but energetically in particular, you know, for the help grieving, or when you have
like we were just talking off camera, we're all dog lovers here, and recently all of us have lost our dogs, so there's a lot of grief with that, and you know, that really shows up in the heart, and when it shows up in such a physical way, then we can have a tendency to move towards more physical diseases of the heart.
Oh, absolutely.
And one thing is, like you were sharing, the grief. So maybe you have a couple stories.
Yeah, the grief aspect. I mean, in talking with people over the years that really enjoy or use the pink and have benefited from it, it's a lot of, you know, very intense situations, the loss of a loved one, whether it be a dog or even a family member or a friend, and just how hard it is to go on, how hard it is to process all of that. And so many times I've heard, the pink just helps us accept what happened. Because if you don't accept what happened there, then you're not accepting basically anything. And we know, it can affect your body physically. Maybe you're not going to accept the nutrients from the foods that you're eating. There's so many ways that can affect you. And we know this connection now between emotional health and mental health and physical health. There's this mind, body, spirit connection that is undeniable. And with the pink, it's acceptance. I hear this a lot about divorces. When I take this, I don't hate my ex anymore. And we all know how hard hatred is on your physical body. So it's really just to go for that unconditional acceptance. I like even more than unconditional love. The unconditional acceptance of what is happening or what has happened. If you're struggling going through that type of a
because there is a certain amount of digestion that's happening, and the digestion is not necessarily physical. So we have to assimilate nutrients and digest our food, but we also have to assimilate these life experiences that we all encounter. The loss of a loved one, loss of our animals, or even a child, which is, to me, one of the most difficult things to deal with. And from our human perspective, we sometimes don't see that. We just see the loss of this person was in my life, this animal was in my life, whatever the situation may be. And we can't find a place to ground into, to be solid and okay with that. When in the reality is we're all in each other's life for a period of time, and nobody gets off the planet alive, unfortunately. But as in quantum physics, energy created cannot be discreated. So the really cool thing here is the possibility of always staying created and connected to that energetic stream of that person, place, or thing that you're loving, that you may be grieving.
Yeah, and it's in accepting what's happening. It's like, we all know mentally that nobody gets out alive, so to speak, or that you may or may, you might die, or somebody else might die. And of course, if we're the ones that are left, it's so hard to accept that process. We understand it.
Now let's assimilate.
Yeah, but assimilate that, and it really, really helps break through that level, so that you're, from the grief to the acceptance, which we all know we have to do. That's a process you have to do to be able to go on with your own life. The Etherium pink is absolutely perfect in that application.
Yeah, so it really does help us. We can get a lot of talk therapy, but wouldn't it be greater if we could do easily effortless, joyful and gentle, releasing and moving into a more empowered place again, by taking the pink, and not from a state of denial, because that loved one is always going to be with us no matter what, but get it to a place where we can function again, where we can respond instead of react, and that we're not always triggered by certain psychological anchors in the body. And when you think about it, I was just looking at some current science, and this statistics will blow you away, that the United States represents 5% of the world population, and yet we consume 80% to 90% of the psychiatric drugs in the world. Think about that. That's an incredible, incredible statistic. And we're one of 4 countries that allows the pharmaceutical industry to advertise drugs to the mainstream. Only one of 4 countries. So there's a lot of relationships going on there that we need to be aware about in our everyday. And what we hope to do here at Harmonic Enterprises is to provide you with some tools that will help you to meet these daily challenges, from the very physical qualities of your life to the mental and emotional qualities of your life. And pink is just a brilliant way to bring ease. And we can grieve in a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be a person, place, or thing. It can be, we can grieve about a lot of things.
Losing a job.
Loss of a job, whatever the case may be.
Yes, absolutely.